my very first teacher was a man named Jim Rohn, and he was a personal development speaker. And he had this 3.5-hour seminar he would do that I went to when I was 17 years old. I was already reading books. I was obsessed with wanting answers. I want to know what made the difference in the quality of people's lives.
What should I do to identify the self-limiting beliefs that are holding me back? Okay, this is one of those things that instead of trying to get in and identify all the different self-limiting beliefs that you have, what I would start doing is focusing on building a growth mindset.
Didn't know who my biological father was at the time, had never really excelled academically. I was a good athlete, but because I didn't keep my grades up, I couldn't play regularly.
Imagine you're 90 years old sitting in your rocking chair looking back at your life. Do you think you'll have any regrets if you continue living the way that you're living right now? Will you truly be fulfilled when it's all over? If the answer is no, then ask yourself, why would anyone reject the calling to become what they believe they have the potential to be? Because we limit ourselves in an effort to avoid fear of failure, discomfort, or any sort of pain we think we'll experience. So we build this prevention machine designed to protect us from having to struggle. Destroy this machine. Destroy the part of yourself that's stopping you from living the...
Not because I was intellectually interested, but because I grew up in a really tough environment. I had 4 different fathers. There was a lot of... my mom was a great human being who loved me dearly, but she, abused both alcohol and prescription drugs, so she was very physically abusive. And I was, believe it or not, 5'1" in high school. I was a little guy, so I got the beat out of me pretty regularly for things that I didn't do anything to do with. And so it made me try to figure out what made her work, what makes life work. It made me more of a practical psychologist. And the modeling concept came because Jim Rohn used to have this phrase. He said, success leaves clues. He said, if there's anything you want in your life, don't assume that somebody has some special gift. They may have a gift, but they probably developed it, most of it.
Now, one, read Carol Dweck's book called Mindset. It is absolutely the right place to start. At the end of that book, you will have learned a very simple truth. It is what I call the only belief that matters, which is that if I put time and energy into getting better at something, I will actually get better. That is a belief that will align your behaviors, because at the end of the day, instead of, like I said, going through and finding all the self-limiting beliefs, just start layering on these empowering beliefs. So 1, you can get better at anything at any time. So putting time and energy into getting better at something will reward you with actual skill set, and skill set has utility.
And if you sow the same seeds, you'll reap the same reward. So figure out what this person's doing different than anyone else and do that. He used to have a funny way of describing it. He used to say, Tony, find out what poor people read and don't read it. It's like, because he said, that's the fabric they're trying to build their mind from. Find out somebody who's successful, wealthy, not just financially wealthy, but somebody who's rich emotionally and spiritually and physically and financially, and find out how do they live their life differently? What are the things they believe? What are some of the daily disciplines that they're a part of? And so really early on, I got obsessive about wanting to have all the answers. So I said, I'm gonna read a book a day. Because I figured, a person takes 10, 15 years of their life, they pour 2 or 3, 4 years into this book, and you absorb in a few hours, literally a decade's worth of life experience. And I'm into compressing time. So I didn't read a book a day, but I read 700 books in the area of human development, psychology, physiology, all of my first 7 years of reading, right? My youth.
Now, if you believe that and you think of yourself as the learner, as you encounter a limiting belief, I can never do that, I'm not a good dancer, I can't sing, whatever the thing is that you tell yourself, then it just becomes a question of, well, if I know that I can get better at anything, the question is, do I want to put time into getting better at this thing? And if I don't want to spend time getting better at this thing, then don't BS myself. Don't say I'm just not good at that. Just say, I don't care enough about that thing to want to put in the energy to try and get better. Now, another thing that can be very freeing. So for instance, I really wish I could sing. I also really wish I could draw. Those are 2 things that I really want. But the truth is, when I say that I really want them, what I mean is that I really wish they came easily to me. And once I finally was honest with myself that I wanted to get what I'll call disproportionate returns, that when Lisa spends time getting better at drawing, she gets like 10x return on her time. It's insane. She is a world-class artist.
Feel the pain that is holding you back, feel it making you stronger, and when that voice in your head says your pursuit is far-fetched, too difficult, too risky, impossible, tell it that it's okay. If you think it can't be done, just don't distract me while I do it. Applause. Don't allow the prevention machine to trick you into believing that if you keep it running, then it will be easy. It's not easy to settle for less when You know you're capable of more to be bored out of your mind sitting at a desk waiting for the weekend to come. It's not easy to retreat to ignore the path you know you need to take. Never give up on something you can't go a day without thinking about. We all go through that, not doing the thing we know we need to do.
So I was just trying to find myself, and I was fortunate enough, to get in a good church with some good people who helped mentor me, sent me to college, started dating a young lady at the time who challenged me to go to school with her. She was gonna break up with me. So just some real good things happened at the right time. Ended up going to college, took me 12 long years. And I think the challenge was I didn't know the code, the rules. I didn't know the language of academia. And I really had to humble myself, and really buckle down. And that's what I did. I started working on my oratorical skills. Most people won't believe it, but I got a C-, in fundamentals of speech. Over time, I always tell people I got average skill, but I have phenomenal will.
It's a funny thing, man, that I learned later in life. But everything that you're imagining, God puts everything he has for you in your imagination. Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's a preview to life's coming attractions. What actually happens is God puts your real life in your imagination. See, this stuff that you've been imagining is not hocus pocus. God is showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. And he puts it in your imagination. The problem with your imagination, though, is you tell it to the wrong people. That's the whole problem. See, if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. How many times has God showed you something so vividly clear that you just knew it was perfect?
Instead, taking the safer path that has a reward visible at the end. But that's not your path. Yours is the crazy-looking trail on the edge of a cliff with giant gaps and no end in sight. Go there. Go where you have less comfort and security, but more passion and possibility, and the more vulnerable you feel, the weaker the machine becomes until it breaks down completely. There's a certain freedom in that, the kind that comes from knowing that whatever force tries to stop you has no chance, knowing that you're giving life everything you have, knowing that you're becoming all that you could be. You'll wake up excited every day with one mission: break walls and build bridges.
And so I just had to buckle down and really ask myself, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And so I think it was the GED program I did. And this may sound real simple to people, but I think the GED gave me purpose, and in that purpose, I found my passion. Like, I finally found something that nobody had to force me to do, something that I woke up to every day. I loved it. I loved studying the books. I loved the information. I loved working with students. I would spend the first 5-10 minutes reading a motivational piece and then kind of elaborating on that piece. And I just fell in love with teaching. I fell in love with that environment. I found that I had a way to connect with people that was, that was rare. And so from there, I went back to school. It took 12 years, but got a degree in business. Wow. Then went to Michigan State, master's and PhD in education, and just really worked on my gift. I realized that all of us are born with a gift, but you gotta hone it. It's just not, you're not gonna become great.
You shared it with your loved ones and your friends, and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they couldn't see it? Because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. And so all these things you've been imagining has been God planting seeds in your head of what he has for you. That's why when you're driving down the street and you see the car in the window, you imagine yourself driving that one instead of the one you got. Because that's the car God will give you. God is in your imagination. He ain't in your paycheck. He ain't in your current set of situations. God is in your imagination. I imagined at 10 I would be on TV. Now, I didn't get that till I was 38, but I got there. Do you know all the stuff you've imagined is really God just showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you? People don't understand that about their imagination. School system will teach people the truth. The problem with school is it don't teach you how to be successful. That's the problem.
You're tired of wondering what you're truly capable of? Find out. And when you're 90 years old, sitting in your rocking chair looking back at your life, you'll be proud of the person you've become. When you settle, you ruin the movie, yet you heard me, your life is a movie. And you are the author, your life is a movie. And you are the director, life is a movie. And you need to edit some scenes out. The pen is in your hand, my friend, and you're writing your very own personal movie. And I believe the good guy wins in the end. I believe the good woman wins in the end. I believe that you will win in the end as long as you don't settle.